Greetings, everyone. And as we do every Tuesday when we have THL games happening, welcome to Hearthcenter. I am Lotus Knight, one of your hosts by tonight, and I am joined by a very special crew. As always, we have to my top left here, we have the one and only Super Chicken. Chicken, how are you tonight?
Great, thanks. Yeah, I got lots of interesting stuff to talk about on the show, both in THL and just Hearthstone in general.
For sure. Right below Chicken, we have another loyal member of our cast here, Geranium Battle. Geranium, how are you?
Doing okay. I'm confused by all the changes.
Well, that's not just you. I can safely say we all are. But right next to Geranium, we have our first guest of the night, Nails. Welcome back. How are you tonight?
I'm doing great. Ready to talk some Hearthstone and some THL.
For sure. And I'm going to increase your volume a little bit because some of our viewers might not have heard. Don't worry, it will be fixed really fast.
For those of you who couldn't hear, I'm doing great.
Nice. And last but not least, a new guest on the show tonight, directly from Europe. He's staying up late for us. We have Chewy. Chewy, how are you?
I am good but tired.
Nice. Thank you, Bone Masher, for the sub, and shout out to Chewy MT Top 16. Congratulations, Chewy.
Thank you, thank you.
We have a lot to talk about tonight. I'm going to open straight in because I want to make sure we finish the show on time, kind of, if we can. So I'm going to do an opening question instead of a closing question tonight because I'm sure this is in everyone's mind. Geranium already messaged it, but we had kind of, I don't know, I have no idea how many cards were changed today. Does anyone know?
I think there were
Uh,
like over
20,
20 buffs or something like
22
that.
buffs and 4 nerfs or 5 nerfs.
So basically, a lot has changed from what we expected. And I want to ask a little bit to everyone about something you've realized from the buffs and nerfs so far. It can be either some power level thing you've noticed, it can be a card that really popped out to you, anything you want to say. So I'm going to start here with Nails. Nails, tell me something that popped out from the nerfs for you.
I'll leave the free answer to somebody else. And yeah, no, screw it. I'll take the free answer. Edwin's very strong. It was already Edwin was not weak before. And uh, it's really impactful, reducing the mana cost of cards in Rogue, especially when they're premium Shadow Step targets. So yeah, look out for Landy Road this week on ladder before it gets pushed back to 4 mana.
For sure. I don't really get the Edwin buff. I'm gonna be honest.
They explained it on Twitter. They had to submit the changes a week ago, and that was before Landy Road came out, and like performed quite well at the MT. And so yeah, they Rogue was in a bad spot before uh,
Mhm.
the new deck came out. So yeah, it's it's an understandable mistake, but it's most definitely a mistake. Um, the other like the secret rogue buffs are probably fine, specifically hockey. It's like that card was really bad on release, and I think that this is a pretty good change for it. But yeah, Eddie's not okay right now.
Sure. Chicken, I'm going to ask you here. Anything that popped out to you other than Edwin so far?
Yeah, Demon Hunter has been noticeably pretty good. I've been playing a bit of mainly Death Rattle Demon Hunter today, and the relic package has fit in quite well. Um, yeah, like turns out like making Relic Vault 2 mana instead of three just like is actually a world of difference because you can just now you can curve out like Relic of Extinction on one if your opponent plays something, into Relic Vault into Relic of Phantasms, which is uh a surprisingly strong curve, and then you kind of have your relics like juiced already, so the rest of them are really good for the rest of the game. And yeah, like I think the list just fits really well right now. Like the Death Rattle package works really well with Sire Denathrius. And
Mm-hmm.
Zymox is also a pretty good late game tool. So yeah, like the deck just doesn't really like run out of steam like it kind of used to. It feels like very consistent throughout.
Yeah. Anything you, Chewy, noticed this season that you, or not this season, with the changes? Anything that popped out to you?
No, I was just a bit disappointed by the Paladin changes. I had really hoped that we would get a viable Paladin archetype again, but it just doesn't seem that case. The same goes for Warrior. I have tried like 4 iterations of Warrior today of the patch, and none of them works.
Yeah, I don't get what
It's
they were
very,
trying
very
to do
sad.
with Warrior.
They wanted, I think, like they wanted to get the enrage package going, but they also half wanted to like control warrior to work, but like control warrior isn't consistent enough. You just run out of steam so
No,
fast.
that's true. Especially because decks have so much reload right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like you clear one board and then there's the exact same board again, and you don't have another clear and you die.
Yeah,
Enrage Warrior needs Skipper and or Battle Rage,
or
and until
both.
then, yeah, um, maybe only Battle Rage would be enough. Um, yeah, actually, now that you mention it, Skipper by itself probably wouldn't be enough. Yeah, okay, it needs Battle Rage, and yeah, I mean, my assumption is they're bringing it back next year, but the set is it kind of doesn't have much of a point without Battle Rage and Standard right now.
Mm-hmm. Geranium, anything you want to say about the patch? Anything that popped out to you?
Um, yeah, so I mean, we sort of covered all the buffed classes. I guess I'll talk a little bit about the nerfs that we got. Um, we got honestly a pretty big nerf to Wild. One of the most high rolly decks in Big Rogue basically got uh, obliterated off the face of the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Alignment is now also pretty obliterated. I mean, if you are insanely ahead, you will go way further ahead. But uh, I don't really foresee that happening with Druid's Toolkit. And then
Yeah.
as for the other nerfs, I mean, Snowfall Guardian, like, isn't the only kill option in Shaman. So, other than my one ladder opponent earlier, who decided to still do Bolner into Snowfall, to not very good effect.
Yeah.
Um, other than that, it doesn't feel all that different. It's still going to halt the aggressive decks. I just won't have a huge minion to pressure life totals afterwards.
Sure. That's fair.
I think there was another nerf, but I forgot what it was. So I don't. That's the end of my segment.
I will
With
note
the wild seeds, I believe.
there was the hunter one.
Yeah, yes. The 4/2 weapon becomes 3/2 weapon,
It's a fair nerf, and it probably won't impact much at all.
Yeah, I don't think it will
Yep.
change too much. Just fine.
and Warlock location got changed to minus the +1/+1 on off rip. So it's just for how many imps you control, not for imps +1, which can be big. Um, I
Mm-hmm.
know, like specifically in my in my match that was on stream uh, on Sunday, it was just like, well, I was always one off lethal one off killing the minions that the imp block kept putting down. So
Oh.
if that buff, if that nerf had been put into effect a few days earlier, then the entire match would have been different. So in that case, it's different, but I don't think it changes it that much. I mean, imp block is still a very good deck.
It slows the
For
deck
sure.
down a decent amount. Um, you're probably more incentivized to shift to the Sire build because you don't get there with OP numbers as much anymore.
Yeah.
Hmm. Now, let me bring us to our next segment, which is Player of the Week. We'll be talking more about the nerfs, I'm sure, and the buffs while we review the classes and what happened last week. But who is our Player of the Week? Chicken, do you want to tell us our hero Player of the Week?
Yeah. Our hero player of the week is Trito 2. In a week where two matches went 3-1 for each team, Trito Two's clutch 3-2 victory over Dr. Bomb D went down 1-2, helped make the difference for ET Yasharaj to win the week over F2L Obsidian. Congratulations on a big individual win and week win. And thanks to Dr. Fish for submitting that.
Congrats, Trito, on winning the week. Geranium, do you want to tell us our Legacy Player of the Week?
Sure. Legacy player of the week is Lemur. Lemur took down, quote, a very talented Geranium battle. That's Osmonaut's words, not mine. In a nail biter 3-2 streamed match. This match started with a huge Control Shaman upset over Phylactery Warlock, and then got put on a razor's edge with Lemur's Boar Priest losing 2 quick games. Lemur, not faltering in the face of pressure, locked down the Warlock with the Sword of a Thousand Truths just 1 turn before he would have died. Running off of this momentum, he finally expertly navigated the new Lambie Rogue to finish the sweep on that Phylactery Warlock and give the Stubbs a huge week win. Hopefully, this new talent sticks around long enough to become a TH lemur.
Nice. Chewy, do you want to tell us who is our Pro EU Player of the Week?
That would be Fudov. In a completely tied series between two teams who made the playoffs last season, Fudov had to bring it home versus golden cardback owner Dingsy No. 2-0 down, he did the impossible and won 3 in a row to win his match in this series by the closest of margins. Thanks to Max VDP for that submission.
Awesome. And last but not least, Nails, do you want to read us our Pro Player of the Week?
Our pro player of the week was Genji. With his back against the wall, Genji pulled through for a big first win of the season for himself and his team. A reverse sweep against Rami pushed his team past a 12-10 early lead with their opponents into a solid 16-12 for the week. Nearly 19 points already on the season sets up the season's APM squad for early success. And that submission comes from us from Base Dink.
Nice. So I want to give a very special congratulations to Trito2, Lemur, Budov, and Genji for getting Player of the Week this week. And with that, let's hop into Decks of the Week. We have a very special segment just brought up here by Dankestad, where we're going to review some of the coolest decks in Pro and Pro EU. We have 3 decks for you tonight, and to tell us about our first deck, Chewy, why don't you tell us about this rogue deck that kind of blew up in MT?
Yeah, so this is the Draka location rogue, Miracle Rogue, Lambie Rogue, whatever you want to call it. Which Lambie posted on Twitter right as the MT started.
Mm-hmm.
And it saw a lot of success in this MT.
Yes.
And I think there was a lot of people not really prepared for that deck in particular. We had seen the coin version, but we
Mm-hmm.
didn't really realize there was another version, at least like the majority of us.
Mm-hmm.
And after this Edwin buff, we have seen the rise of this rogue on ladder in a huge amount of games right now, and it's gonna continue this way for until a change is made, I believe, because it is a really really strong deck right now.
Yeah, those ghosts and Draka can get so scary.
Yeah, I mean even if you just like play a tempo, the lowest I have seen a deck come out is about like for 6-5 damage, and that's kind of a lot over 3 turns starting on turn 4.
I agreed. I 100% agree. This is gonna be a scary one.
Yeah, and like even without Draka, if you face a deck where that don't really run a lot of board clears, you can just put down like two semi huge minions on turn 2 to 4, like
Yeah,
between 6 and 8 in stats, and you just win the game in 2 turns anyways. It's kind of ridiculous.
sure. Now, taking a look into our second deck of the week, Chicken, tell us about this Druid deck.
Yeah, we have unfortunately it is 0 new cards, Aggro Druid. I was always hoping like there would be some new cards that would help like a token Aggro Druid this expansion, but it seems like a lot of the cards this expansion just aren't really on a or like a lot of the token Druid support they printed isn't like very strong.
Fair.
So it looks like we're just kind of running the old list with interesting addition of Guff Rune Totem. Definitely synergizes with the nature spells in the deck, which
Mm-hmm.
you're already running because of Herald of Nature. So
Sure.
yeah, it does make some sense. And yeah, Guff is a pretty strong card from ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely makes sense to run it. But yeah, it's kind of the same list people were running last expansion, but yeah, it does I don't know. Seems a bit interesting to have run it before the nerfs. I think maybe now it has a bit more legs because it was getting pretty overshadowed by Implock. But with
Yeah.
Implock's power being brought down a little bit, I think we might see a little bit more of it. I was expecting some buffs to like some of the token druid cards.
Yeah.
But we did not really get that, which I found a bit surprising because they printed like some support for it, but like the cards were really bad. As it
Yes.
was like kind of as it was with some of the other archetypes, but they have buffed those now. So I don't know. I think maybe Token Druid just got forgotten or something.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's interesting to see that this list does not play Matriarch. Usually that's a card that you'd expect to see, and it doesn't play Oracle either. Just very low to the ground, trying to get in there. And uh, this was run as like a deck for an otherwise like vanilla aggro lineup of Face Hunter, Naga Priestman, and Block. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, some interesting choices. Looking to presumably punish mm, uh, probably Druid, uh, but
Yeah.
some other slow decks as well.
Now,
Mm, yeah,
Neil,
go on.
speaking of interesting, weird choices, tell me about this Paladin.
Yeah, so we've got a 40 card uh, like control Holy Paladin, and um, I guess maybe it's not correct to really call it Holy Paladin because we don't have Garden's Grace in this deck. Uh,
No, you do.
oh, is it cut off?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you
Yeah,
do, don't you? No. Oh,
um
wait. I might have the wrong deck.
yeah, I think you've got the wrong list.
Yep. I'm fixing it right now. One
Yeah,
second. Sorry, everyone, but go ahead,
this is
Nails.
yeah. So this is Ufric's deck list from last week in Pro, and uh, yeah, it's just it's Paladin. It's got some neutral cards, so we don't have the pure Paladin payoff cards anyway. So not, they're uh, the Countess is pretty underwhelming, but yeah, it's just playing some minions and like none of them are overpowering, but it's just trying to make consistently powerful plays on curve. Or
Fair?
consistently, it's trying to consistently spend its mana. That's probably a more accurate way to say because the plays aren't especially overwhelming, but it's um, yeah, it's playing Pyro Equality so it can respond to the enemy's board. It's playing Lightforged Curial so it can try to live through reasonable amounts of off-board damage. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and It's got a few tempo plays such as Buffet Biggin, and I'm looking for the other ones, but I'm sure they exist. Light Ray, that's a card that can provide some tempo. Sure, let's go with Light Ray as the second best tempo card in the deck.
Fair?
And it includes Muckborn Servant as one of the primary battle cries to benefit with Bran. Muckborn Servant, of course, is capable of generating Lightforged Cariel, which is the
Oh,
I assume that's the reason that it's in the deck.
fair?
It doesn't play standard control like Holy Paladin cards, like I mentioned Garden's Grace already. It also doesn't play Righteous Defense,
Yeah.
which is a Holy Paladin card. So yeah, it's definitely not accurate to call this a Holy Paladin deck. It's a I think it's fair to call this mid-range Paladin.
It's fair.
It tries to win on card advantage and with Famished Fool, and yeah, Paladin doesn't have any other card draw available to it. So yeah, just Famished Fool. But yeah,
Mm-hmm. I mean, this looks to me like a much worse version of Control Shaman, actually, but I might be wrong here.
it was running in a lineup with Control Shaman, so um, that's probably a okay. Also, pretty much every deck was worse than Control Shaman last night, so there's a lot of
Well,
room to be worse than Control Shaman.
yeah.
But yeah, it is trying to execute many of the same strategies. However, it doesn't have game-winning synergies like such as Muckfool's Null or
Mm-hmm.
Bolner plus about half the battle cries in the deck, which is like a third of the cards in the deck.
Pretty
It
much.
just kind of hopes the opponent doesn't do very powerful things. And I suppose that game plan worked because Ufric was able to take a win in the series, despite the Paladin not earning a bit.
Nice. Congratulations, Ufric, on winning. Now, let's bring us into our first series. Let's go into Hero. And our first Hero match is going to be Chicken is Back. Just in time to smack versus Dead Legend. Chicken, take it away.
Yeah, I mean, as the team name suggests, I am back, and I did get I did get a 3-0 win over Isocles in my first week. The week started out a lot less close than it ended. It started out 12-0 with uh myself, C-Mac, and Skirt all getting 3-0 wins. So we had won the week without dropping a single point. And then kind of kind of the opposite of how our seasons usually go. Of normally we start out pretty weak and end strong, but this week we started out very strong and then lost the last two matches, but still enough to get the win. I had or I swept Isocles with Alignment Druid, so it was a nice Alignment Druid send off for me. But I am gonna miss the deck.
Fair?
But maybe I'll just keep playing Ramp Druid. Close enough.
That's true. Hey, you can still play alignment, just you don't lock
Yeah.
the game. Anyone want to share any thoughts with Chicken is Back just in time to smack versus Dead Legend? Maybe Nails has something to say here.
It's kind of amusing that you started up 9-0 in games, and 9 and UKIT and me decided that the work was done. We've won the week. Good job, guys. And then I maybe it's not fair to say that they mailed it in, but I like the narrative that they mailed it in after the week was won.
Fair?
Yeah. I actually like the narrative where Dad Legend went 0-12 banning Hunter, and then decided, you know what, I think banning Hunter would be a good idea, and then continue to do that and actually win the next two matches.
You gotta stick to your guns. If you don't have your guns, what do you have?
That's true.
The answer is, of course, no guns. And why would we not want to have guns?
Now, let's take a look into our next match of the night. We have Geranium here to tell us about ET Charge versus F2L Obsidian.
Yeah, ET Yasharaj took a another this one looking much more close win over F12 Obsidian with I think it's God Reld. I think that's an L, not an I. Losing to Aquaman, Yo Daddy, losing to Nice Jewish Owl, but Trito to Vampire Nighthawk and Nomad Farmer all picking up wins over Dr. Bomb D, Two Fly, and Sharkbait, respectively. Yeah, with ET Yashraj sort of having some significant changes. It's not a big surprise to see Aquaman 575 winning in the one here. But it was a bigger surprise seeing Warrior win for Nice Jewish Owl. And by that I mean I'm going to look at the scouting page and make sure Warrior did actually play at all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, I want to ask here, Chewy, do you have any comments, anything you want to say about ET Charge versus F2L Obsidian?
I mean, as a fellow ET, can expect to take the win here, Uh, I actually kind of surprised that there is a warrior brought.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe not so surprising. The Warrior lost game one, and then
I
NGO swept
can
with Priest.
I can imagine that it
That's
didn't get the win,
shocking.
but
I can't believe Warrior lost.
big ups to Owl for actually having the courage to bring it. To be honest,
Side note, Chewy, can you tell our viewers what does ET stand for?
it only stands for extraterrestrial, like
Okay,
yeah, as you would
so does
think
that
it stands for.
mean that Yashraj is an alien, or just like I'm trying to understand the lore here?
Well, technically, in the WoW lore, the old gods came from they came from WoW's version of space to Azeroth, so they are technically invading alien species
Okay.
on the planet Azeroth.
Okay, and so ET in the team's name, ET is just being used to emphasize that point because like Yashraj being an alien is implied, but I didn't know about it, and this got me talking about it. So maybe that's just what the ET is doing in the name.
Um, I
Sure.
believe the reason why it is Yasharaj is because there are four old gods and four
Yeah.
ET teams.
We just chose like whatever we wanted, and I said I
Oh,
refused to take Yogg-Saron because I've always hated Yogg-Saron.
okay.
Yeah, and then it just got split up over the different series.
Okay.
Hmm. So, I'll move us to our final hero match of the night. So Chewy, why don't you tell us about F2O Black facing Team Edward?
Right, it was what looked to be a defeat for Team Edward until two-star Mako actually clutched it up in the 5 seed there. So in the first seed, Ribob beat me with 3-1 because I can't seem to beat him. I don't know, some witchcraft going on there.
Fair.
Yaxter beating Itachi in the 2 seed with 3-1. MPV losing versus Jespine with 2-3. Thalfix losing versus Bone Masher with 2-3, and then Two-Star Mako with the clean sweep versus Totino's Pizza in the 5 seed. Yeah, it was a really close series, and we thought we actually had lost it, and then Two-Star Mako just wrote late for me on a Saturday night by yo guys, I swept it.
That is what Mako tends to do.
Yeah, he's an absolute god sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Chicken, anything you want to add about this one?
Yeah, we do love ties. That is
We do.
that is something we do feature quite often. Yeah, lots of hunter bans in this series as well. I think I don't know, I think people were a little bit scared to bring Druid maybe this week. I feel like Druid Druid was pretty good in Hero this past week. I don't know, it might be different going forward, but yeah, it felt like Druid had a ton of
Mhm.
like sweet potential. Um, but yeah, not a ton of druids were brought. But yeah, Hunter being banned kind of makes sense because uh Quest Hunter also has similar potential when like you're not playing against a druid, I find. Because it's like really good into like all builds of mage, and like pretty like even or better into like all shaman builds.
Mhm.
And
It's
and
playable and deserved. Yeah.
yeah, it's like into everything except druid. It's like uh playable, like you don't really have any other like super unfavorables. So it's
Mhm.
like generally a bit one of the classes that I found was a bit riskier to leave out.
Yeah. For F2 all black, bringing Mage, Shaman, Warlock almost across the board, a lot of Hunter bands make a lot of sense.
Fair.
I will note that since we feature ties a lot of the time, that also means we feature, I think, F2L just a greater percentage of the time because I think they just get the majority of ties for some reason. I think they got 4 ties last season across Legacy and Hero. And then, week 1 they get
Yeah,
another one. I don't know how F2L manages to do it.
it's just
I believe
talent.
I believe it's that they forget to lose, but sometimes they also forget to win.
That's true.
I think it also has to be some kind of drawback from Ribbomson's witchcrafting.
Entirely
That
possible.
that's one of the more likely explanations that we've heard.
Um, so I'm going to move us to look at the hero standings so we can move to our other series. Geranium, tell us, how is Hero looking at the end of this?
Okay, so the images we have currently are just a little bit augmented because we had a few matches roll in here. So actually, pretty even across the board. There was no team that got more than 17 points. That's 14 points plus the week win. Um, so abducting players' minions was tied at 17 with ET Yasharaj in Teal Conference, closely followed by the 2 tied teams of Team Edward and F2L Black. Uh, Closely following is F2 Obsidian at 12 points, and then Hearthstone related content at 10. And then in the Purple Conference, Clown Town, 17 points. Chicken is back just in time to smack, also at 17 points. Then another Pit of Misery is just behind them at 16. The Cult and No Pros Here are, sorry, the Cult was behind No Pros Here at the start. No Pros Here had 11 points to start it off, and the Cult had 9, and then Dad Legend trailing at only 8 points. But honestly, every single this is just 1 week out of many for this season.
For sure. Any final thoughts anyone wants to share about Hero before we move straight into Legacy? All right, so we're going to begin in Legacy Gold. And our first match is the Stubbs facing colon close parentheses. And I'm going to ask you, Nails, how did your team perform here?
We lost in a close set. Uh, Epic Mingo took a 3-1 victory over me uh, to start off the week. Shep 3-0'd Kronos HS.
Mm-hmm.
Lemur took a close victory over Duranian Baffle, 3-2. Osmonaut 3-1 to Quaz. And Sharkbait took a win over Crew Finley 86, 3-2.
Mm-hmm. Um, anything, Geranium, anything you want to add about this one?
Uh, yeah, it was pretty interesting seeing the classes roll in and just the wide variety on the Stubbs side. Lemur and Osmanov both bringing rogues before Lambie Rogue had ever been discovered.
Right.
And then the nice horror on my face when I realized, oh, okay, yeah, Lemur's just gonna bring the really really good rogue deck after the MT. I don't know. I guess the hardest thing was just trying to figure out what Kuru Finway's Discord was.
Fair. Anyone wants to add anything about this match?
It was also a little bit of a struggle to find out what Chronos HS's Discord was. They are EK Hades in the THL Discord, which is not immediately obvious because there's another player named Chronos, but it's probably on the website, and I just didn't check that. But I wasn't playing against them, but I in Legacy, but I played against them in Hero, so that was a related adventure. Not too much to say about the match though. It was a close set. And congrats on the win to the subs.
Mm-hmm. Now, Nails, I want to ask you, what is the general standing of gold here?
Sure. So Team Not Justin and APM are both tied at 19 for first place. The Stubbs is very close behind at 17, and uh, Smiley Face and How I Met Your Murgle are not too far behind at 12 points.
Oh,
It's a relatively close race so far, but
yeah,
it's hard to gain too much ground on the first week anyways. So yeah,
yeah.
would be
Still very early to call, but we have the first week of the season here. Now, let's take a look at Red Conference. Chicken, tell us what happened in the Diamond 5 facing Zyrella's Disciples.
Yeah, we had the Diamond 5 versus XD. XD usually generally a pretty strong team across different series. Made pro semis last season. And generally just I think they also made semis in Wild. But yeah, generally a pretty strong team. But yeah, this week they fell short. To the Diamond 5, who I think was probably one of the stronger teams on paper going into the season. This is uh, a similar lineup to what were they last season? A team with Neji and Kotamora and Diamond.
I believe that was the Kachao clones.
Yeah. So it's a similar lineup with Neji and Kotamora still on the team. Neji's brought in his collegiate teammate Ricescription in the 4. Diamond is moving over to a captain, just a captain role as opposed to captain and player. And yeah, they've added Ron, Mexico, and Dankastad, who have often played in the 1 seed in different series and are now in the 2 and 3 seed, which is generally just recipes for success.
Sure. Yeah, Ron in the 3 is not okay.
Yeah, I don't know how they pulled that off, but I think Ron did a little PR tanking in some past seasons and has now been able to do this.
Hey,
Yeah,
all I'm saying is that I, a 3 seed, faced Ron Mexico in the 1 seed last season, so Ron Mexico can face me in the 3 seed this season.
that's fair.
That checks out.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, the I mean, I was just chiming in, but I suppose I can parrot Justin's question in the chat that it's not clear which of none of them. I lost my thought.
That's fair. Don't worry. So Chewy, anything you want to share about the Diamond 5 versus XD?
No, not really.
Okay.
Clean win.
Yeah. Very clean win for the Diamond 5 here. So Geranium, or sorry, not Geranium, Chicken, tell me, what are the standings for Red after this match?
Yeah, in Red Conference, we have the Diamond 5 at the top with 20 points, School of Fish right behind them with 19, and F2L White with 15, Pod People with 11, and Dad Legend with 10 points.
Hmm. So it's just beginning of the season. There's still a lot of time, and they all do seem to be still pretty close to each other.
Yeah, definitely. No, I mean, yeah, it's the first week. No teams, obviously out of it just yet. School of Fish and Diamond 5 are obviously the teams to beat in Red Conference, but yeah, just 1 week. Any team can bounce back, and teams often do have slow starts at the start of a season, and often turn it around.
For sure. Speaking about slow starts and turning around, let's move into Silver Conference, where we had a team that didn't do completely amazing last season and is now just had the hottest of starts here. Geranium, tell me about IDK facing the Slaw Bunnies.
Yeah. So Silver was looking like a pretty competitive conference this season, and IDK really showing just how much they've changed with a 18-8 over the Slaw Bunnies. That includes Foodov, our EU Pro Player of the Week, taking a 3-2 over Agent Peewee. Molestar, somehow in the two, versus your Mum Ked with a 3-1 win. Once again, I don't know, I'm guessing Godreld with a 3-0 over Megu. Nomad Farmer with the 3-1 over Hustle. And finally, Bassoon Buffoon moving down a seed and taking the Game 5 win over Righteous Jammies.
Nice. That was such a strong showing by IDK here. Nails, anything you want to share about this match? Nails?
Where is
I'm
Nails?
I'm muted.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
solid win to start off the season for IDK. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Nothing too much to say about it. Just solid performance, top to bottom, uh,
For
for
sure.
the JO Jaguars team.
I like
Let's
how
see.
much they're priest believers here.
Yeah, 5 hunters, 5 priests, 3 shamans, and 4 warlocks is a little bit interesting, but yeah, it clearly worked out for him this week.
Sure.
I mean, I think that's kind of interesting though, because I know a lot of people, my practice group included, didn't believe that Naga Priests was a deck at all. And then we could see in the MT that Naga, like almost every player in the top 8 and then top 16 had a Naga Priest in the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was a really smart move by the Death Knights to bring Priests this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, the new version's a lot more consistent. Just adding Cathedral, um,
The
it
boon.
yeah, and of course, it gives the deck a lot more power later into the game. It's not as reliant on um, sprinting out to an early lead, which it wasn't always completely reliant on that. It had a, a solid amount of game as the match went on, but you wanted to generally just have a blowout turn, and you're still reliant on like uh, making too many stats for the opponent to respond to, but Boone
Yeah.
gives you a lot more game as the game goes on.
Sure.
Being able to make big taunts that are silence immune is very good for the deck's resiliency into various strategies that you might use to beat it, such as burning it out or silencing its minions. Just
Sure.
catches a lot of issues that deck had.
Now, I wanna ask I wanna ask Geranium here. What is going on in Silver Conference after this match?
Yeah, so Silver Conference has IDK up at the top. I know that they have played a match already, so that's why they're at 25 instead of 21 where they were before. Season 22 closed list conquest participants is right behind them. Was at 15 points before. Standard THL Degenerates, a little bit farther behind at 10. Law Bunnies at 8 points, and then Zarella's Disciples, who we covered in their cross conference match, down at the bottom at 6. It's starting to, you know, um, really appear to be a winner of the conference, but yeah, this is not time to count your slaw bunnies. So
Fair.
And XD had to uh, fight against Diamond's team in probably one of the toughest cross conference matchups that you can pull. So they're they're not in a terrible spot.
Exactly. It's definitely still too early to call, but we're gonna keep an eye out because, as we say every season, every point does matter.
All points matter.
Now, let's take a look at Blue Conference. And Chewy, tell us about our match here. We have ETC Cthulhu versus Dumbledore's Army. Also, I love that team name. It's amazing.
Yeah, so E.T. Cthulhu took the win with 14-10 over Dumbledore's army. With the Book for Life winning over Plants with 3-2. Lowbro losing versus Stincy with 0-3. Me beating Superhero with 3-0. Trido beating Catbat with 3-0, and Eternal losing versus Bartimus with 2-3. This was a this was a really close series, and it came down to my game at 4:30 a.m. in the morning. At 10:10. Yeah,
Oh,
it
wow.
was really, really nice to win this one.
Nice. That's awesome. So, I want to ask Chicken, anything you want to share about this match for you?
Yeah. Noticing that Superhero is playing in the 3 seed for Dumbledore's Army this season. Believe she was a 2 seed on the championship winning Cooler team a couple
Yes.
seasons back. So I think I'm expecting her to have a very strong season, despite going down 3-0 to Chewy, who, like plays up in the 1 seed as well a lot of the time. I think that was just a a pretty tough week 1 matchup, but yeah, I'm expecting both Chewy and Superhero to have really strong seasons if they both stay in that 3 seed.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
yeah, I mean about that, Chewy is already a 2 seed now. Uh,
Oh.
but but yeah, I mean it's pretty cool to see we were talking about Ron Mexico being in the 3 earlier. It's pretty cool to see a top 16 Masters Tour player in the 3. Uh, yeah, and then
uh,
Trito 2 MT6 participant as well in the 4. Uh, yeah, and I guess final thing I'll say is that Superhero, while she ended as a 2 seed, she started as a 4 seed for the Cooler. So yeah, with these teams where the players are very close in PR value, you're gonna see a lot of shifting.
yeah. Still awesome though. Great result for ETC Thune. Uh, Chewy, tell us, where does that end Blue Conference at?
Uh, so we got 4 out of 5 Justins in the lead with 18 points. We got E.T. Cthulhu in second place with 17. Got Dumbledore's Army in the third with 10 points, and then the Cooler and Hot Sylph currently tied at 9 points each.
So with this, we close our legacy block, and I'll bring us back to our main screen, where we're going to have our commercial. And tonight, Geranium is going to tell us what's going on with Twitch Prime.
Hey there, Twitch viewers. Have you subscribed to the Team Hearth League yet? Then make the day to be a league yourself and subscribe to our channel. This subscription enables the THL team to help cover the various costs of cooperating our website, as well as improve the quality of our streams and content to our viewers. If you have Amazon Prime or Twitch Prime, you can sub to the channel for free. Subscribers will get a THL emoticon as well as the lovely THL chat badge. So hit that crown button and keep the notifications bing bong to make sure you catch our team broadcasting live. We appreciate each and every one of you. Special note to our viewers, check out THL's other social media, I don't know why that's bolded, points of interest. Website is at teamhearthleague.com. Catch us on Twitter at THL_HS. Join us in Discord at Team Hearth League. And the true Hearth legend himself, Saku, continues to post all of our videos on our YouTube channel. Just search for Team Hearth League to see everything previously recorded. You are, of course, watching us on our Twitch channel. It's twitch.tv/Team Hearth League, or possibly on our YouTube channel in the future. And for all of you THL fanatics out there, there are THL shows every single most days of the week. You can't go wrong tuning in at any time for some Hearthstone-related content. Now back to the good part. Catch y'all later.
All right. So we still have 2 series to go, so I'm going to hop us right into Pro EU, where our first match of the night in EU is going to be F12 Violet versus Flowens. Now, Nails, what happened there?
This was a pretty dominant victory for F12 Violet over Flowens. Mad Thanos, subbing in, took a 3-0 victory in the 1 seed over Razor. Rami took a 3-2 victory over Lobster Pants. Lee Bobson 3-0'd Capitan, very small. The Capitan Pearl. Okay, it wasn't just.
Yeah, Captain Prio?
Is that a capital I or an L? It doesn't make that much
It's an
sense for
L.
it to be
Pearl, you're
okay.
right.
Okay, Capitan Pearl. Itachi 3-1 in MJ 1997, and Bruno X subbed in and got the victory 3-2 over Copa.
That's a
Um,
very strong showing, though.
yeah, it looks like Flowens brought a lot of slow druid and did not actually get. I saw a bunch of warlocks, so I assumed that it would be druids getting punished by Implock, but there were only 2 Implocks, and one of them was banned. So back to the drawing board for my analysis. It just hard to say based on lineups why there was such a dominant victory, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, I feel all Violet's a strong team, so.
Fair. Fair. Now, Geranium, anything you want to share about F12 Violet versus Flowens?
Yeah, I shoot, I'm actually just gonna go look. But I'm pretty sure this is a reversal of what it was last season, where Flowens was taking quite a few upsets near the end of the season. And so one of those upsets was over F12 Violet.
Mm-hmm.
Now once again, we are once again resetting to the beginning of the season. So obviously Flowens has to start losing. So that's why we're going to see this huge victory for F12 Violet here.
Sure. Anyone wants to share anything else about this match before we go into our second match of the night for Pro EU? All right.
Yeah,
Oh,
Oh, go ahead.
I mispronounced the sub's name. It is actually Brunois X, not Bruno X. There's an I in that name.
Okay.
That's my bad.
yeah, it was pretty funny to see Bruno actually coming in for another Norwegian team and getting a win for them. Good, a good one for him.
Um, I get okay. Looking at the scouting page, it looks like these slow druids basically got swept. Like got beaten over and over. So I guess just lost a bunch of favorables. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's not overwhelmingly favored into control shaman. The matchup is pretty close to a flip, and depending on the builds of spooky mage, um, it's going to be druid favored, but again, not overwhelmingly favored. Um,
Sure.
druid's matchups this expansion are a lot less polarized than they were in past expansions, mostly because the slower decks actually have powerful things they can do aside from just clear boards.
Yeah, I'm just more surprised by them losing to Quest Hunter, but
That's fair. Yeah, you basically just have to hit a wild seed start, but there's 40 cards in the deck, and there's definitely a combination of them that can get there against Druid.
Sure. Now, let's take a look into our second match here. Chewy, tell us about Donkey Hot facing the League of Nations, our winner from last season.
All right, so yeah, League of Nations won last season's EU, and now we see them getting beaten here by Don Quixote with 15-13. Very close series. So in the first seed, wait, is it Aluha? It is.
Yeah, I never know
Uh,
how to say it. Paluha, Paluha.
yeah, I think it's Paluha, yeah. Versus Exart. Paluha took the win with 3-1. Donkey beat Gaboom with 3-2. Going beat Mighty with 3-2. Um, does it say Mata? I can't really read.
Yes, Mata.
Yes, Mata.
yeah.
Okay. Mata lost 1-3 versus Nails, and uh, Hurricane lost 2-3 versus Den. Yeah, very close series. All of these players are very good at the game, so expect some very close series between most of the teams in EU, to be honest.
It's true. Now, before I send it to someone else, I want to ask you here, Chewy, as a person from EU yourself, um, are, do you have any special insights on Pro EU that you can add for us? Anything that differs it from Pro NA for you?
I mean, you you see like a lot of these players around in a lot of like tournaments, MTs. I think EU Pro is like a really stacked series overall. Like with the likes of Dinsinho from Pertinax. You have the Pannenkoek team, which has like Lasagne,
Mm-hmm.
who is like an avid MT participant. He's a really good player from Finland. You got Fudol, you got Max VDP, one of Benelux better players. There are a lot of players in every team that really stands out from the pack, so to speak.
For sure.
Uh,
I think you're bearing the lead. I'm an EU pro this season as well, and I think that is the primary the primary factor in elevating the talent level.
oh yeah, for sure. Can't forget that.
I'm one of the strongest EU players, in fact.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I want to ask a bit about the standings here. Chicken, tell us, how are the standings looking for Pro U after this week of matches?
Yeah, so as we kind of looked at earlier, F12 Violet is sitting at the top of Pro EU with 21 points. Then we have ET Nazoth at 18, Donkey Hot at 18, the Pan and Cooks at 17, and we have the Underdogs and League of Nations tied at 13, Pertinax at 12, and Flowens at 7. So F12 Violet, obviously off to a very strong start, but all the other teams are right in there as well. Like, uh, aside from Flowens, every other team got 12 or more points. And yeah, getting like 12, 13 points in the loss is definitely not that bad. If you're gonna lose a week, getting that many points is definitely pretty commendable. So yeah, I would not
Mm-hmm.
say any team like Flowens. Well, definitely did not get as many points as they were hoping, but I think they can easily bounce back as well. I don't think anyone's out of it just yet.
For sure.
Yeah, I think the beginning week of Pro EU is looking more competitive than it was last season. Uh, like already, underdogs are doing much better. I think going into week 3, they had 5 points last season. So, um, yeah, really seeing them put up more of a fight.
Sure. Any final thoughts anyone else wants to share about Pro U before we move right into Pro NA on the other side of the ocean? All right, so let's take a look at Pro NA. And this is our last series of the night. So, Nails, tell us about Coney Island Clown Club facing the opportunistic pro players. Nails, can you hear us?
I'm muted again.
Oh,
The Clowns pulled off a clean sweep of OPP with uh, uh, Izat taking a 3-2 victory over Mr. Python, Lamby taking a 3-1 victory over Pigpen,
mm-hmm.
Neji taking a 3-2 victory over Blood Rose. It's great for him. Uh, Justin taking a 3-1 victory over Gingy, uh, Ginger, and Nails taking a 3-0 victory over Righteous Jamie. He also enjoys talking about himself in the third person.
True.
Um, yeah, for this set, we mostly just wanted to prioritize. It's like the first week, we wanted to just bring safe decks that we were pretty sure were good. And Lamby brought his rogue, which was he didn't tell any of us about it, but he loaded it up. And the rest of us, yeah, just brought generally safe decks,
Yeah,
and um, we were able to get the wins.
fair, fair. Now, Geranium, anything you want to share about this match?
Yeah, I mean, maybe even crazier than Lambie bringing Lambie Rogue, much before the MT sort of broadcasting it ahead of time, is that Pigpen also brought Rogue uh across without having Lambie Rogue. So that's pretty cool. And then yeah, just in general, otherwise across the series, seeing mostly Implock, and then just in that one match as well, there's Curse Lock, Phylactery, Warlock. Honestly, other than the Phylactery Warlock, it looks like a little bit of a harder set of matchups for Lambie Rogue, at least by what ladder stats say right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, I'm going to move us to talk about the standings for Black Conference. Or actually, we still have another match, don't we? We do. I'm dumb. Sorry, everyone. So let's take a look at our second match for Pro. We have in the Black Conference F2L facing Graduate. Geranium, tell us about it.
Yeah, F2L taking a close victory over Graduate. A lot of the returning names here on F2L getting wins. So Liquid Ox back after a hiatus with a 3-0 win over Heat Shock. Itachi losing to Ufric and his Paladin of some nature. Snake taking the Game 5 win over C-Mac. Ree Bobson losing Game 4 to Valdis, and Marty B winning Game 5 over Thalfix to round it off and give F2L 14 points.
Nice. Chewy, tell me, do you have anything you want to say about this match? F12 facing Graduate.
Um, not nothing that really stands out to me. I'm just curious what other druid is.
Um, I think that's the Aggro Druid. That was the Beast Druid we featured earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, I can confirm that is what Valus and Thalfix brought.
Very interesting that two players decided to go for an aggro druid that didn't really get tested at all by others, and Valdez actually pulling it off as well. Really cool. But other than that, nothing that really stands out. It seems like solid lineups from all players, except the Paladin, of course. But apparently that worked out too. So
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of surprised that the other Druid, the Aggro Druid, won against the lineup that didn't have Ramp Druid.
Yeah, that is a little bit surprising. Phylactery Warlock can sometimes struggle with big boards, but um,
yeah,
the
wouldn't
top
be
end kind of got cut, and there's no Savage Roar type effect that gives you minions plus to attack, so it's not
Mm-hmm.
that great at pushing an early advantage. But I mean, just hitting the Phylactery Warlock in the face can sometimes get there.
For sure.
yeah.
It's a bit disappointing to see that Heat Shock brought 160 cards and none of them were enough to secure a game victory over Liquid Ox.
True.
It looks like the Aggro Druid won against Spooky Mage in that match.
Interesting.
Hmm.
That is interesting actually.
Yeah. I can see it happening, especially if they are able to get the Pride's Fury off. Mage is going to have very much trouble against Pride's Fury.
Yeah, but I mean, you go freeze into freeze, and then you go hero, and then you go
Yeah.
apprentice, and then you clear full clear.
Well, but
So
if you have a full board, you can't freeze that many times.
you never have full board. Hello. Maybe
Yeah,
Rubov didn't draw his hero. That might have been it.
it's true. That could happen.
But yeah, I'm not that surprised that we're seeing all these weird lists from Graduate. I highly expect we're going to rename our new decks segment to the Graduate decks segment.
That would be fascinating.
Heat Shock is always brewing, and you gotta see what's up, what's come out of the kitchen.
True. Now, let's take a look at the standings for Black Conference. Nail, since you're a party of interest in this one, tell me what's going on in Black Conference in the end.
The Clowns have a slight lead at 23 points. Cheesemongers are a close second with 21. NPH and F2L have 18 and 17 points respectively after their wins. Graduate and Extraterrestrial Eogsaron have 12 points apiece, and XD and OPP close behind at 11 and 10 respectively. No team had a oh, actually no, OPP has already won a game this week, so they had 6 the after week 1. So yeah, a bit of a rough week 1 for them, but all the other teams had a solid showing in week 1, and OPP have a win uh, in week 2. So
Mm-hmm.
clearly, it looks like they're bouncing back after week 1. But yeah, as mentioned in the other series, it's 1 week into the season, so it's hard to draw
sure.
many conclusions from 1 week of play.
Sure. Now, moving into the other side to the pink conference, Chicken, why don't you tell us about Brushy Tuna facing Swagoi? The game I like to call the perfect symmetry.
Yeah, this was a if you enjoy watching people lose 1-3, then you'll love this matchup between these teams because 5 people lost 1-3 on Swagoi. Yeah, pretty good variety of lineups on Brushy Tuna. Each seemed to have a pretty good idea of what their opponent was going to bring. I think Banter probably had the best idea. Mole being a pretty strict control player a lot of the time. I think gave Banter a pretty big advantage there. Just kind of knowing Mole would probably just bring comfort decks.
It's worth
Not
noting that
not to out Mole or anything like that, but like
Banter
he
also
does he does do that. So
Banter did just roll up with his MT lineup for what it's worth.
oh neat, just kind of
It,
worked out
it,
that
it
Mole
happened to
brought
target control, but
yeah,
a
Mole
lot of
just
a
kind
lot
of
of
brought
strategies
Paladin and Warrior in the same lineup. Maybe you can get away with one, but I don't know about two.
a lot of strategies right now do happen to target control
Yeah.
passively.
Fair. Yeah, this was Mole's lineup had Banter a bit confused. I can say that much because I don't think there are many stats in Control Warrior right now.
Hey,
That
you guys
statistics
are
are like very red, so you couldn't
you
pay
guys
me
are
to
all
bring Control
laughing.
Warrior right now.
You guys are all laughing, but that Paladin won. That was the only one.
It's true. The Paladin
I mean,
actually won.
I
Okay,
can
now
see
tell me
Paladin
about the
winning.
Warrior.
Yeah,
Uh, so
like last week, you couldn't pay me to bring Warrior to anything.
No,
No way.
no.
Yeah, Warrior just got like what 6 cards buffed or something, and I still think the class is bad. Like it's just not good. Still, I think the class is still gonna struggle a bit. Maybe I'll be wrong, but I don't know. I feel like it's a pretty safe bet to make.
Hmm.
I would like to state on the record that unlike Chewy, I am very willing to accept payments to bring Warrior to any series, DM me for info.
Sure. So if you want Nails to bring Warrior, money is a solution.
will you accept payments to stream again?
Yes.
Oh, there's a chance. Uh, but yeah. Also looking at Jared Poet versus Ron Mexico, the Paladin also won there. So
Yes. Braun was not happy that the Paladin won because it's a Paladin.
Understandable.
No, sorry, no, I don't understand. Well, sorry, what's the issue? I like
Yeah.
no, what's the problem? Paladin's a great class.
For sure.
There is no issue, surely.
if you
Eh,
bring a Paladin, you win with Paladin. That's what we've seen so far.
I think more and more people are saying this.
sure.
There's a growing consensus amongst commentators.
Now, let's move on to our final match of the night. And Chewy, tell us about Silverhand Detective Agency versus the Canadians.
Yes. So, oh, this was a low scoring match, but a very tight one.
Yeah.
12-11 win for Silverhand Detective Agency. With Cepho taking it 3-2 over Mighty, Silo taking 3-0 over Fire Noodle, Interval losing 0-3 versus Lucas Demnesk, who is a really good player, by the way. Jimmy losing 0-3 to Super Chicken, and Pescatarian taking it 3-1 over German Chip.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if Lucas Domenech has subbed a lot in THL before, but he's like a really strong player from, I think it's Brazil.
Yeah,
He's
he's
Brazilian.
from
Uh,
Brazil. He subbed for me before, and he subbed. I think he played for a season, didn't he?
I don't think he's played a full season to my knowledge.
That is what I would
oh,
guess as well.
Okay, but he did sub for me last season, actually. When I was
Yeah,
away.
resident THL super sub.
Yeah. No, Brazilians have to help each other.
yeah, I saw him posted a tweet the other day where he was like, I think top 3 Brazilian Hearthstone players ever.
Yeah.
So if you manage to get him as a sub, it will be really good. We can
Hmm.
see here he pulling off the 3-0 with well, I would say like he wasn't that favored in like purely lineup wise.
Hmm. Chicken, tell us a bit about your side of this match since you played here.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe who played first? I think Shep played first and last. I was like, oh, well that's bad. Uh but we'll still win our other matches. That's fine. That's fine. And then I think Fire Noodle lost. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's not great either. And then Mighty lost, and then we lost the week. I was like, oh, hmm, this isn't going great for us. But yeah, luckily we picked up some points closer to the end of the week to make it a bit closer. But yeah, a bit unfortunate to start out 0-1. Never want to do that, but I think yeah, I think we could maybe get a win this week. Okay, bounce back a little bit.
For sure.
It was after starting O3 that you realized you needed to call in a ringer and swiftly subbed out rank 1 legend at the time, Aquaman, to make sure that you didn't bleed too much this week.
Yeah, Aquaman just did not make the cut. Had to remove him this week.
Had to
Um,
upgrade, gotta save face.
yeah. Unfortunately, Aqua had something come up. Had to get an E sub for him, but he will be back next week or this week, I suppose.
Right?
Perhaps even next week.
Now, I want to ask Chewy here. What is, or not Chewy, sorry. Um, wait, no, it is Chewy here. Chewy, what are the standings for Ping Conference looking like after this match?
Okay, so for pink we got Brushy Tuna in the lead with 23 points. And then we got Criminal Lineups in the second, tied second with 19 points, and they are tied with A Perfect Murloc. And then in fourth we have Silverhand Detective Agency with 15 points, and then the Raging Clues on 12, Can Indians on 11, Lucas Lovebirds on 9, and in last place we got Swagoi on 5 points.
Nice. So, it's the beginning of the season. Anything can happen. And I want to take this opportunity to wish good luck to all pro teams and really to all teams in all series here. But with that, I'm going to bring us back to our main screen. Um, we had a check-in question today, so I'm not going to do a full checkout question. I'm just going to ask anyone one by one. I want to thank each of you and just ask if you have any final words. So I'm going to start with Geranium Battle. Geranium, thank you so much for being here tonight. Any final words you want to say?
Oh, cool. I was also muted. Yeah, I guess I'll just answer the closing question that's on the sheet here.
Sure.
So yeah, I think the team that will win EU Pro Finals will probably be the Pan Cooks, and the team that will win the Hero Finals will probably be Chicken is back just in time to smack. Yeah,
Fair.
and I'm doing well, and hope to see some good Hearthstone play on stream this week.
For sure. If you want to play on stream, do message the Stream Matches channel. We're all looking for matches. We all love casting. We all love watching matches. So say you want to play, and we'll get you in. Looking for matches and still a bunch of times on time. So hit us up. But I also want to thank Super Chicken for being here tonight. Thank you, Chicken. Any final words you want to say?
Yeah, of course, always a pleasure to be on the show. Um, I don't know. I'm excited for the changes in general. I do kind of uh resonate with what Chewy said a little bit, where he feels that the Paladin changes weren't enough to actually make the class relevant again. I
Mm-hmm.
do have to agree to some extent. I think the kind of the silver hand synergy cards that got buffed, I think those will be helpful, but I think the um the other ones will not be as impactful. Like uh, I don't know. It seems like Control Paladin's in such an abysmal spot. I don't know. It just like why would you ever play Control Paladin over one of the other slow classes?
That's true. Nails, I want to give you a super special thanks for joining us tonight. I hope you had fun tonight's show as always, and thank you very much for being here. Any final words? Anything you want to say?
Yeah, thanks for having me. And yeah, there was the nerfs were all very welcome. Um, I thought they just made the balance team made good decisions on which cards to nerf. I think that the buffed cards are largely not going to be relevant because the classes that were buffed were so far down bad that they still will not be particularly good, with the exception, of course, with Edwin, because Edwin is cracked and will be uh, pushed back to where he was pre-patch sooner rather than later.
Fair. Last but not least, Chewy, thank you so much for staying up and joining us tonight. It was great having you for your first Hearthcenter. I hope you had fun. Any final words? Anything you want to say?
Thanks for having me. It really was a pleasure. I just want to say good luck to all players for the coming weeks, and hopefully I'll meet you in the playoffs.
For sure. With that, I believe that is it for Hearth Center tonight. One more time, I want to thank our hosts, Super Chicken, Geranium Battle, Nails, and Chewy for being here tonight. Keep an eye out. We are going to have Wild and Out, I believe, this week. On Thursday, Marty and his crew are going to tell you about what's going on in Wild, which we don't because I think most of us don't play Wild. But not only that, we are going to have match shows on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So if you want to play on stream, DM us. We're looking for matches. I believe Saturday is still looking for matches. Friday is still looking for matches. So just let us know. We would love to have your match. Whoever you are, we just want matches. They're fun and they're really helpful for us. We love having them. So go on, let us know, and we'll be back with Hearth Center a week from now, next Tuesday, to tell you about the week 2 of each of the THL series. Have a good night, everyone.